Hello, this is a guitar tutorial for not a specific song, but just a general overview of various different percussive fingerstyle guitar techniques you can employ while you're playing. I'd like to start with a disclaimer that I've never had a guitar lesson in my life, so all of the techniques that I plan to present, I have no idea if they're the most efficient or the most correct ways to get the sounds that I'm getting, but they've worked for me, and so far I don't think that they've hindered my progress on the guitar in the 8 or so years that I've been playing. For me, the skills have been very gradually accumulated, and usually in order to learn a specific song, I would have to learn one of the techniques. And so I'll try and make reference to those songs and how they came into play in my personal journey of learning all these different techniques. Okay, so the first technique I'm going to break down is the basic positioning of your hands for all of the techniques that follow. And this is something that's really fundamental to the other skills I'm going to present. So becoming comfortable with this one is key. So in essence, it's just the basic placement of your index finger, your middle finger, and your ring finger on strings 2, 3, and 4, as so, as you can see in the hand thing. And then your thumb is going to cover the 6th string and the 5th string. So for example, if I just play a simple bar shape on the 7th fret, just start trying to become comfortable with playing your bass note, your thumb, and then plucking up with your 3 fingers. And becoming comfortable with this will just open up so many different possibilities for your guitar fingerstyle. And something that really helped me when I was first learning was to pivot my pinky finger on the board of the guitar, because all of a sudden then your hand becomes so much more stable. So I would really emphasize the importance of that pinky pivot. And in fact, there's a video, my first video I posted on this channel was a very simple guitar jazz progression, and you can see me using that pinky pivot. I'll just show you a brief snippet of it now. So that was a song there, but just having that stability that's given by your pinky finger helps so much in terms of just becoming comfortable with picking on these strings with your other fingers. So the second technique is the slap, or the percussive hitting the strings into the fretboard of the guitar. In essence, it consists of a light tap of your thumb into the top E string, or more the gap in between the E strings. And basically what's producing the sound is the string hitting the metallic knuckles between the frets. So it's hitting these metal things here, and just by sort of rotating your hand into it, you get that slap effect. So that rotation just with the thumb was the first thing that I learned. That was from a Goliath guitar tutorial. He talks about the slap a lot, and he's got some excellent videos on that, so I'll just put those linked in the description, because they were really my single source of how I learned that skill. And then a slightly more complex is a string slap with all of your fingers. So essentially you're doing the same thing. You're bringing your thumb into the fretboard. However, you also bring your 3 fingers so they're right ready in the position to pluck up. So as you slap, there you can see my fingers are sitting exactly where they need to be. So I can slap and play up like that. I'll show that in slow motion. So that's hugely, so it almost becomes a whole hand slap then, and my fingers are very relaxed during that. So they're not tense, you know, because if they're tense, it doesn't work. You just sort of have a loose hand and you slap all of your hands into the strings. Now the last technique to do with slapping is the slap and play, which is something like, so that really focuses, you get the slap aspect with your thumb. However, as you twist your thumb in, you can see my fingers are flicking out. So you basically want to flick out as you brush the strings with the nails of your those 3 fingers as you slap, like that. I'll try and do it slow, but you won't hear the slap, but it looks like this. Like that. So, and that's something that's a hugely powerful tool when you're incorporating the slap while you're playing. So yes, that's something that is very useful. Before I move on to the next technique, I should probably mention the importance of, with this slap, how the note is stopping is releasing the pressure in your left hand. So if I keep the pressure on in my playing hand in my left hand, it sounds like this, which isn't what you want. Usually you're going for a staccato percussive effect. So you want the note, as soon as you play it, to just pull off so you get the staccato hit. Like that. Again, requires a bit of practice, but that pulling your left hand off is a really effective thing to sort of increase the percussiveness of how you're playing the guitar. So the third technique is muted plucks. If I put my fingers relaxed over the fretboard, it's going to sound something like this. And as you can see, I'm already slightly incorporating the technique before from the slap. But in essence, it's just plucking strings exactly as you would if you had the notes pushed down, except without the sound. So your fingers are just loosely muting the strings. So one song that uses this is Mike Love's song Forgiveness, which I've done a tutorial for. I'll put the link in the description, but here's a snippet of it that I'll break down in order to explain this technique a little better. There. So what you can hear is, if I do it really slowly, it's this. So just to fill in that gap between the 2 chords, you literally, almost as your fingers are moving to the next position, you slide them across so the strings that you're plucking muted are in fact muted. So there I'm just doing an index finger on the 4th string and a thumb on the 5th string as my left hand moves into the major 7 shape. So it's, and keeping in mind there's a slap as well before, so it's slap, and then you slap in so your fingers are in the right position, and then as you slide into the major 7 shape, you're plucking 4, 5, and then pluck up with the strings now pushed on the major 7 shape. So, like that. So the last one that I'm going to cover before I sort of do a summary of what I played at the beginning is this 3 fingers sort of hitting into the strings. So this one was something I learned when I was trying to make a tutorial for Tom Misch's version of Isn't She Lovely? So how that sounds is like this. On the very end of that little snippet I played, there's the sound of his fingers just returning to the position was a subdivision of the rhythm. So I'll do it slowly again. There, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that, just the sound of your nails returning, slightly touching the top of the strings, can give you a really nice percussive effect. And sort of the application of this will come in a moment when I do an overall summary of the thing I played at the beginning. So what I did at the beginning sounded something like this. I'll try and break down each part of that slowly, so you can see the integrated application of various different techniques that I've just discussed. So on the first chord shape, which is played like this, as you can see on the screen, it's going to sound something like this. How it starts is pluck on the 5th string, pluck on the 5th string, up pluck on 2, 3, and 4, and then a slap. And a slap and play into the fretboard, and then there's sort of a flick back on the. I've still got the shape held down, as my index finger returns to its position, it's going to flick the fingers up. So, and then you're going to hit the bass string again. Actually, you're going to hit the bass string again, but open. But that's just an embellishment, which isn't really necessary. So how it sounds, if I'm going to stay true to how it sounds, it's like this. And then you're going to pluck everything with the bass note moved up to the 6th string. And now the second half of on that chord, your left hand stays muted that part. Let me do it again. There. So all of that is percussive. And then it's just going to go into a string 4, 5, string 4, 5, and then 2 and 3 together. So. And then you're going to play a bass note, and then slap the strings, and then a muted pluck on the 4th string, and then the bass is walking up to the next chord. So how that goes in its entirety really slowly is. So while I was editing the video, I decided it would be the most clear if I just had a slowed down version of the intro and tabs above. So for the next part, that's exactly what I've done. And I've also added to the tab the techniques which were discussed in the video and the exact point where to use them. So I hope that helps. Feel free to pause and rewind the next bit as much as you need. And yeah, it should be coming up just about now. Yeah, thank you for watching, and let me know if there's if it would make sense for me to do videos on each of these techniques broken down even further, or just any other videos in general that you'd like me to make. So thanks for watching, and I'll hope to see you soon in the next video.